All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the June 22nd, 2025 O-Scale Central Online program. I'm David Vaughn. For those of you who are repeat viewers, you've already heard the introduction I'm about to give, but we get new viewers every program, both live and on the rebroadcasts on YouTube. So this introduction is for the newbies. O-scale 2 rail is a model railroad scale of 1/4 inch to the foot, 1:48 proportion. It's almost 8 times the mass of HO. O-scale has detail you can see, mass you can feel, and satisfying models to build. O-Scale Central is a nonprofit 501c3 tax-exempt membership corporation whose mission it is to promote 2-rail O-scale and support modelers in the scale. We are NMRA's Special Interest Group, or SIG, for O-Scale. We have an information-filled website at oscalecentral.com, a quarterly journal, a monthly newsletter, an active outreach program to train shows, RPM meets, and NMRA conventions. We also sponsor this monthly online program using the Zoom platform. We bring in top manufacturers, importers, and newsmakers in the scale. We present layout tours of quality O-scale 2-rail layouts, short clinics, and news you can use. OS2R is a scale small in number of active modelers, but because of our small size, the scale operates largely below the radar without a lot of manufacturing support, advertising, and visibility that some of the larger scales have. But the O-scale is a great scale. The O-scale community is tight-knit, and O-scale Central and other organizations keep us on the move. We support each other. We provide this program, as well as our website, as a service to the scale. You need not be a member of O-Scale Central to use the website or to view this program. You're welcome. We think keeping the O-Scale 2-rail community informed, educated, and cohesive is important. The open access to the contrary notwithstanding, we hope you'll see the benefit of what we do, that you'll enjoy the program, and that you'll join O-Scale Central. If you do that, go to the website, it's oscalecentral.com, find the membership section, and follow the prompts. Your dues money makes this program and our other activities possible. Let's turn to this month's program, which features two O-scale newsmakers. Sunset Third Rail is headed by Scott Mann. He will catch us up to date on his company's in-stock, in the pipeline, and in development projects. And he'll give us his updated take on the impact of tariffs on production, shipment, and prices. Al Puglisi will tell us about his O-scale related projects and show us a really neat video of Ed Rapi's fabulous 2,400 square foot Penzi layout. We have some brief announcements before turning to our headline guests. I want to introduce two of our officers and have them give us a real quick briefing on some O-Scale Central activities. Eric Peterson is on O-Scale Central's board and is our liaison with the National Model Railroad Association, and he edits our monthly newsletter, The Drawbar. And he is also the lead. He was articulating that he seems to be the lead on a lot of stuff, and it's the old, if you want to find something to get done, you give it to a busy person, and I'm afraid everybody understands that Eric is that busy person. And he is our lead on the O-Scale, on the NMRA National Convention, which takes place in Michigan, I think, beginning next week. So I want to give Eric the opportunity to give us a real quick briefing on what's going on, including what Osceola Central might be doing in connection with the NMRA convention. Eric.
Thanks. I don't know how many people have been to an NMRA national convention before, but I started going with my dad a few times, probably about 60 years ago. And I've enjoyed every one. This year it's July 14th through 19th. It's in Novi, Michigan. This is a suburb of Detroit on the northwest side, where three expressways come together. So there's a lot of convenience. The host hotel, there's no parking charges, but that hotel is sold out, but there are many, many others close by. So that's shouldn't be a problem. There's over 50 layouts. Four of them are 148. I think one is three-rail, one is narrow gauge. And the other two are the Detroit Model Railroad Club. Imagine a small town movie theater filled with an O-scale layout that has about 3 levels to it. And also Richard Tomlinson home layout that's nearby. And that is a full basement layout in a house designed just to accommodate a layout in the basement. There's operating sessions, there's modeling with the masters, there's many, many clinics. There's a new format for yard sale. We will have a special interest group table. We're not doing anything else special. The registration is only $125 for the week. You do not have to be an NMRA member to register at that rate. And the National Train Show is the end of the convention, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I think it's a great opportunity. I'm planning on going. I used to live 2 miles from this location, actually. And the full disclosure, I'm an associate member of the Detroit Club. And I think it's a really great place. I was just up there for their celebration. The club has existed for 90 years, established the same year as the NMRA, who is also celebrating 90 years. And they bought the Holly, Michigan movie theater 51 years ago. So if you can imagine at one site with over 50 years of work into the model railroad, it's an impressive thing. I was up there for an operating session and then the celebration. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. NMRA.org is the website for the NMRA. And just click on conventions there and get you started and get you registered if you would like to come.
Eric, what are the dates again?
July 14th through 19th.
Super. This is the Detroit Club is fantastic. The NMRA does a good job, and there are lots of trains, both models and 12-inch to the foot in Michigan.
Yep.
So take a look.
Yep.
It's not too late.
If you want full-size related things, the Michigan Central Depot, just west of downtown Detroit, has been completely refurbished by the Ford Motor Company. And you have an opportunity to go to that, either as part of the convention or outside of the convention. Greenfield Village is always interesting. They have a fairly extensive railroad fleet now. And also the museum there has an Allegheny that was sent up from Huntington, West Virginia under its own power quite a few years ago now. But walk through the cab and see if you can figure out every control. So lots to see, lots to do in the Detroit area.
Thank you. One of the strong points about what O-Scale Central does is our quarterly journal. And the editor of the quarterly journal, which is called the O-Scale Central Coupler, is Bob Jellin. And we're about to have an edition hit the streets. And I'd like to get just a brief description from Bob as to what that looks like, what's going to be in it.
Thank you, David. And for those of you who are either watching this after it's been recorded or have not yet joined O-Scale Central, you need to know that we have great communications tools, whether it's the monthly drawbar, the quarterly coupler, the website, shows that are on our YouTube channel. We're doing a lot. This coupler is within a week of going out now. The cover story will be on the Big Bend Model Railroad Club in Webster, which is a suburb of St. Louis. They've been around 87 years. What's unique for them is in the same location. And for those of you who might know about the club, they're in the old Frisco Depot, and at one time it was scheduled for demolition, and nobody seemed to know there was a club inside operating an O-Scale layout. So they were able to save the building and save themselves. This issue will also have an article that was done by Eric Peterson on how to repower the original Atlas F9s using Stanton drives. We'll have a guest commentary on what to look for if you're buying used brass in the secondary market. And then we'll have some other items as well. The interesting thing we're doing with this issue is starting a look at the O-Scale clubs that exist. And we'll also start taking a look at some of the clubs that have gone by the wayside. People have memories of. A good example would be the O-Scale club that was in the basement of Denver Union Station. That has disappeared. And yet at the same time, the O-Scale club that was in St. Paul Union Depot has continued on. They moved and then moved again, and they're now in their own building and operating just well. So we'll be taking a look at some of the O-Scale clubs, the history. Well, we're also going to take a better look at some modeling projects as we come up, including a modern grain elevator. So those are some of the things we have coming.
Thank you, Bob. It is worth the price of admission just to get the O-Scale Central Coupler and the Drawbar, our monthly newsletter, and all the rest of it is gravy. But for $24 a year, you get quite a bang for your buck. Thank you, Bob, very much for your efforts in this regard. Being an editor of a journal like this is a lot of work. Thank you. Just briefly, also about to publish is a new issue of Dan Dowdy's online O-Scale Resource magazine. It's online, it's free, it's about 100 pages each issue. One of the neat features that it has is the ads are clickable, so you can click on them and go directly to the manufacturer's website or wherever else the manufacturer wants to forward it. But it's really a nice interactive feature. Also out now, and again, take a look, is the O-Scale Trains 2025 annual. You may know that the O-Scale Trains was a bi-monthly magazine. It simply did not have the circulation to sustain that. White River Productions, which publishes Railroad Model Craftsman and a number of other train magazines, has moved it to an annual, and it is now out. It is basically as close to ad-free as you can get. So you have, I think it's 116 pages of good quality articles. You can Google O-Scale Resource. You can go to White River Productions and order the O-Scale Trains Annual through their website. Okay, also, and we're not going to go through it now, but a schedule of coming events of interest to O-Scale 2-rail modelers is on our website, as is a free-to-list, free-to-use, trademarked O-Scale product and service guide. It's indexed and it's searchable, and it will tell you how to find OS2R products and services. Bob Jellin mentioned the Big Bend Model Railroad Club. We, as O-Scale Central, do pretty regular outreach to different meets. And one of the meets that we really enjoy and we're going to be at is the St. Louis RPM meet. We will have a sectional layout. We will have clinics. We will have videos. We will have model displays. They get 1,000 modelers at the St. Louis RPM, and we have an opportunity every year to introduce them to 2-rail O-Scale. So that'll be coming up, I believe, in July. But one of the features of going to St. Louis is having access to the Big Bend Model Railroad Club. We will be at other shows, including the Mid-Atlantic RPM, the Strasburg and Harrisburg O-Scale 2-rail shows, among others. We have a complete list of upcoming events. Look it up on the website. I want to thank all of our guests for attending, and I want to thank, in addition, Greg Vigiano for his production and program assistance, and Nick Bulgarino, who tries to keep me out of technical trouble. Sometimes that works. And finally, I want to thank you as our attendees for blessing O-Scale Central and this program with the gift of your time. Our attendance has been increasing, both for the people who watch it live and the people who catch it on YouTube on rebroadcast. You guys make it possible. You're the reason we do this. Thank you. Our first featured guest is Scott Mann, whom I want to introduce. To say that he is a mainstay of O-Scale 2-rail is an understatement. Sunset has been importing brass engines, trains, and cars for how long? I'm going to pull out the number 50 years. That may be wrong. He'll correct me. Scott's father, Mort Mann, founded Sunset, and it's been in continuous operation since. Scott has been tasked with keeping the business moving and evolving with the incredible changes that have happened in the industry and the markets, particularly with O-Scale. Scott has great insights into what's going on, not only with his own production, but also what's going on within the larger industry. Scott has been on the program a couple of times before, and he always leaves us better informed than when he starts. And I think we'll be able to talk not only about the product, but about the tariffs and the impact that those have or may be having. Scott, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you guys. I've been looking through the various video pictures. I see a few people I recognize. It's been pretty challenging. The tariffs are a killer. I mean, basically, you work a year and a half on a project. You're already locked in your expenses, and you give your customers a price, and lo and behold, you have to pay 30% more for your product when it arrives at port. It's disheartening, and I'm trying very hard not to raise the core prices of our models, because that kind of erodes the orders. People start looking at their orders saying, I really can't afford this anymore. This is going beyond what I expected. And, I feel it too on the things that I buy. You rush to buy something before it before it goes up in price. But unfortunately, these things are not in stock all the time. They come in like 3 or 4 times a year, and we have no control over what's going to happen by the time they come in. So I've been struggling with that for the last few months, and I'm resigned to the fact that that's just the way business is going to be. And people say, well, why don't you produce outside of China? You know, that's the problem. The problem is the people I work with in China, they've been making our models for over 20 years. I know these people very well. They're very kind and they're very generous, and they're very interested in pleasing you guys. They really are. And they work very hard to produce these various prototypes that we put out. So moving away from that is extremely difficult, impossible. There's really no other place to find the skill set right now for that kind of thing. I know that various other manufacturers have gone to Vietnam, and they're having issues because the skill sets aren't there. And you know, of course, you can't bring it home. Production here costs at least 5 times more, just because of the labor cost. But again, you can't find people that have that skill set to make the models look the way they do. So we just struggle on and keep going. We've got a lot planned. On this side, you know, one of my biggest challenges is getting prototype information for, you know, you do a diesel run and you're doing 25 different road names, and there's detailed differences for each, and the painting and lettering and the paint colors are specific to the road name. And if it's not accurate, you know, everyone out there is pretty spoiled. Everything looks the way it should, and they want the next one to be the same. So there's various folks that have approached me during the years. Some of them were my critics and kept saying, "Oh man, why did you get that wrong? How could you get that wrong?" And you know, so then I employ them to help me out. And one of those people is in this group here. His name is Peter Creamer. Hope I pronounced your last name right, Peter. Anyway, I like him to talk a little bit about what he goes through, because I don't actually know exactly what he goes through. I'm sure he's poring over documents and photos and looking at the various models from different angles, so he can decide what details are included or not, such as dynamic brake or not, or you know, a vertical vent versus a horizontal vent. So I want to introduce Peter. Peter, go ahead, turn on your mic. And,
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
All
Yep.
right, great. So thanks, Scott. It's that you were close, right? It's actually crime or creamer in Dutch, but here it's pronounced Krumer. Is actually how the family.
How many years have I been?
That's right. Pete, you know, Pete. I don't call you. Man is easy to pronounce, right?
Yeah. All right, Pete.
Yeah. So, but you know, I don't know how much time I have, but I'll take you know, a couple minutes. If I can go more, let me know. If I've spoken too long, let me know. It is a really difficult thing to be an expert in more than 1 or 2 railroads. And this is the biggest thing I've learned over the years working for Scott, is that you really need to be an expert in everything. The way I approach, as you know, third rail is a 2-rail and a 3-rail producer of models. I always take it from the aspect of a 2-railer. And one of the most important things I try to do is to always have a photograph of both sides of the model that we're producing by road number, to make sure that when somebody says invariably that this isn't right or this isn't correct, I have a photograph backing up for what I've done. And a lot of times it's not that easy, because railroads don't produce engines and work and make engines for modelers, and to have everything photographed and spec'd out from every angle, every side. So I spend a tremendous amount of time trying to get every road name and every road number as correct as possible. And that goes for everything. And it's very interesting to work on this stuff because details change, so many multiple phases. I'm thankful that we may not do another steam engine again. The last I worked on, the New York Central H10, and it was really tough to find everything we needed to produce an accurate model of that locomotive. So I'm working really hard for you guys. I don't want to forget to say that if anybody has any information, if you see Scott is doing a particular locomotive, and you're an expert on that locomotive, you know everything about it, please feel free to email me, with drawings, engineering drawings, PDFs, personal information, right? We could always use that. I could definitely use it. That's not to say a lot of that information will be incorporated into the model because there are a lot of other considerations to be made by Scott. The more variations of a mold, the greater the cost, and it lessens the impact of maybe that particular locomotive being produced. So I do try to do a lot of locomotives as built, but a lot of times the road names didn't buy these or purchase these locomotives until 2 or 3 or 4 phases of these engines were built. So as built is preferred, but most of the time we can never do any run completely as built. So we'll try to do the best we can. I don't make any compromises. I send it to Scott just the way it has to be done. And he said, Pete, you know what? We have to do the same mold for this door or whatever. You think that would be acceptable? And I always say no, but I let Scott make that decision. So in other words, whatever you don't like, right? Blame Scott, don't blame me. So again, I guess the most important thing for this call, if anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. But if you see something, Scott will put something out there, say, we're announcing this run of this locomotive. And if you have anything on it, send me an email, pictures, anything, everything is always appreciated. I have an extensive library upstairs of just about anything. But somebody always will have something that I don't have, and somebody will always spot something. We try to get everything we can, but somebody will always spot something in every run, like, this really, should have been this many inches lower, or this font is wrong, or something. So, I'll take whatever you guys want to give me. It's, it's more than welcome anytime.
Thank you, Peter. Question either for Peter or for Scott, I'm not sure. What specific models are now in stock, in transit, in production, in the design phase?
And his email address.
Okay, so I'll give you my email address first, because everybody will say that's the greatest email address anybody can have. It's New York Central, all spelled out, at Verizon.net. So NEWYRKCENTRAL at Verizon.net.
How did you get that?
I got that because I was the very first person on the internet.
I invented the internet.
There you go.
You might be able to sell that name for $1 million and retire.
What specific models are in the pipeline at the various steps that we ought to know about?
So Peter just got done with the detail matrix of the GP30s that we're doing. And I've just passed that on to the design team, Peter. They asked for a bunch of compromises, and I said, nah. I said, just do it the way it is. And so they're going to start working on the various designs. And what they do is they'll create very nice 2D and 3D drawings of each road name design. And then Peter will review those based on his matrix. I could stare at them all day and not figure it out. So I let the people who created it review it so that they can, quickly find the errors. And then from that point, then they do the detailed drawings of every little part, every casting, every mold that needs to be made to create the model, and then they're done. And then that goes to the builder, and the builder studies all these drawings and the such. And while they're doing that, we're working on the painting and lettering. And there's a very talented gal over at the factory, Mrs. Wong, who's been doing this for many years, and she'll draw up the painting and lettering to the best of her ability. And then we'll take that and correct it, and we'll go back and forth until we're all satisfied with what they have. And then they begin production. I give them a quantity and I start sending them a lot of money. And that's, the whole point of this thing is to keep everybody occupied and funded during the whole project. And then the next project has to be ready in place so that there's no gap in production or payments, because they're just little factories, family-owned businesses with maybe 10 employees. Some are family members, some are neighbors and friends, and they just, they can't survive without money flow, and they're paying rent and things like that over there as well. So it's a struggle to get all of this pulled together on a schedule that meets their needs. And then I also need money from customers to do that, and I need the money for projects that are on their way here and basically at the port. And you'll get these emails from me. It'd be nice if we can get payment before this date, so that I can, keep the money flow going for myself as well. And it's been doing this so long. It just, I think the problem is that the years just roll by because you're constantly going from one 9-month project to another with 2 different factories, and it just never ends. There's no, oh, we got done with that project, now we can take a break and go on vacation. It doesn't happen that way, unfortunately. So Peter is one of the guys I go to for the diesel projects. Jonathan Pfeiffer, I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. He handles a lot of the painting and lettering of very complicated projects. He's a skilled artist and architect, and he also just loves to pour through information to make these things. So that's kind of our process in a nutshell. And what do we have coming up? So right now we are in the middle of working on a very large project, which is not very popular with the O-scale 2-rail guys. It's more popular with the 3-rail guys. And that's the P42 Genesis and the Siemens Chargers. And it always seems to be that the transition diesels are very popular with the O-scale 2-rail guys, and anything more modern are the 3-rail guys, younger guys. They're more interested in the stuff that's out there running around. So we're working on the P42 and the Chargers at the same time. And that's also a very interesting project because it's licensed by Amtrak. And Amtrak has a gentleman there by the name of Matt Donnelly, and he's in charge of their intellectual property and branding. And he's very dedicated to make sure every color, every name that exists on the models is exactly like it should be, exactly like it is on the prototype. So he goes over our drawings and sends corrections for anything Amtrak. And then we're licensed with Amtrak. We have to pay a licensing fee for every model we sell. It's quite an ordeal, but they're very popular. So the P42 and Chargers are now in production. They finished the Alco FAs and FBs, and they are docking. They already docked in LA, and they're docking in Oakland in a couple days. And then we'll go through the process of sorting and shipping those. Let's see. After we have 2 little factories that we work with. One is the diesel. The other are our car factories. Car factory that makes mostly aluminum cars and occasionally some plastic. Right now, they are finishing up the, what is it that they're finishing up? Well, the next one that they're doing after what they're finishing now, oh, the Prospector. The Prospector cars are nearing completion. And then they'll start on the Texas Special and a short second run of Crescent cars. And that'll take us into the fall. And then perhaps we'll work on the Santa Fe Super Chief 1937s. And it just keeps going and going. Then after that, we have a rerun of the 20th Century Limited, the Broadway Limited, and whatever else we can come up with in the meantime. And on the diesel side, we're going to do the quick rerun of the SD40-2, and then we're going to dive into the GP30s. And something very exciting for next year. And I have to say, this last trip to the Chicago show, the O-Scale meet in March, was very interesting. And Pete, I'm really sorry you didn't make it there, but we had a gathering of a group of guys in St. Louis that there's a gentleman by the name of Kyle Faintish who has a giant layout in the St. Louis area, and he's open to the public once a month. And it's a 3-rail layout. And he really wasn't familiar with us. He's a young guy, but he has a huge following because people from all over the area that are interested in trains come to his open house. And one of my other data helpers is Gregory Smith, and he's also a 3-railer. And he helps me with the names, painting and lettering, and he helps me check the drawings for all of these aluminum car projects. And he took some of our cars over to Kyle's layout and showed it to him. And all of a sudden we got this huge resurgence of orders out of the St. Louis area. And so all those guys came to the Chicago show to meet me. And I have to say, I've never felt the love I felt at that meeting. And everybody was so excited and had all these ideas and projects for me to do. And so one of the projects that came out of that was the UP heritage cars. Yes, Lionel's done them and others have done them, but they really haven't done them truly to scale and with all the details that where they ran behind the 4014, the big boy. So that's and the response to our announcement was spectacular, and we have lots of orders, enough to get started right away. And so that's going to be our next struggle, is getting all the data together for the UP heritage cars. And no, we're not going to make another big boy. I mean, it's really hard to make brass these days. It's so expensive, and there's not a lot of people that can afford, $5,000-$6,000 steam engines. So we'll just focus on what works. And so we're going to do the UP heritage cars, and then we're going to rerun our E8s and E9s next year. And they're the UP E9s were heritage diesels as well. And then we've got a few other tricks up our sleeve after that. So that's what's going on here. I can tell you we are not going into a recession. We are the first ones to feel it, and I'm not feeling it. People are hungry for models. They're willing to spend the money, and the hobby is strong and successful. You may not see all of the activity in 2-rail O-scale on these forums or at the shows, but they are out there, and they are not participating that way. They are participating in Facebook and Instagram, and they're younger people, and they're doing O-scale. And so I'm seeing more and more new people as we go along, and it's wonderful. That's what's going on.
Scott, if I could just, interject for a second.
Sure.
About young people in the hobby. We always hear, this nonsensical talk of, where are all the kids in this hobby? One of the people that helped me the most is my 25-year-old son, Greg. He loves trains. He has probably about 25 or 30 friends that are into O-scale. I have another son, he's a couple years older, and he must have about 25, 30 friends that are into trains. and they have this large group where they go out and they photograph the prototype. And I'm usually surrounded by young people, so this Zoom call was a little unusual for me. But there's just a huge gang of young kids that are over here all the time, and that are heavily, into trains. So all is good. Scott is right. All is pretty good in the world.
Yeah.
There's a large group of younger people who are coming to the Chicago shows now. You're really starting to see generational passing, and that's really comforting.
Okay.
I got a question for somebody, and that is, you've got Sunset, you've got Third Rail, and you've got Golden Gate Depot. Can you explain how a name gets assigned to one of those three logos or brands? Is there a secret code that we need to know?
Yeah, it's a secret. Okay, so back in 1994, one of the builders for Williams was making the S2 turbine in brass in Korea. And at the same time, Lionel was working on the same project in 3-rail at Samhongsa. And they don't announce their models until they're done, Lionel. And Williams had been taking orders, and the project was languishing. It wasn't progressing. And back then, you did a line of credit, or a letter of credit. You didn't have to put money up like you do today. You just opened a letter of credit from your bank, and then the builder would take the letter of credit and borrow against it from their bank. So you didn't actually have to send any money over until you were done. And so you could easily just let it slide and let it expire if the builder was taking their sweet time and delaying the project. So Williams heard the announcement from Lionel and decided to drop the project, and the builder went bankrupt halfway through. So my dad's builder, an HO, heard about the fire sale from the bank and went over and successfully bidded on it. And that was our first Third Rail product. My sister was doing the graphics for Dad, and she quickly came up with that Third Rail logo, which is pretty cool, and because she's a graphic artist. And Third Rail was born. So it really wasn't a company; it was just a brand of Sunset Models, and it still is. So going forward, 3-rail was 3 or 4 times bigger than 2-rail in O scale, and so we didn't bother pushing the Sunset brand. And I remember going to the shows early on, trying to explain this to the 2-rail customers at the Chicago show, what the story is. Why you have a third rail on a 2-rail model? So it just was laziness. For a while we did some in Sunset boxes, the 2-rail and Sunset boxes, and the Third Rail and Third Rail boxes. But the builders got confused. It got expensive, so we just stuck with the Third Rail logo and left that. Golden Gate Depot was my little sole proprietorship when I was going through college. And, I would sell some used trains and things like that, things that Dad found in Korea for me to sell, leftovers from other importers, etc. And so later on, when I joined Dad and I saw the opportunity to make plastic models require a large tooling expense, where brass models, there's no tooling. It's just the model and pay your builder and you're done. But with plastic models, you got to spend $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 on a tool before you've made a single model. And Dad said, I don't want any part of that. Said, you do that. So I continued Golden Gate Depot alongside Sunset Models, and as time goes on, you try to merge them all together. But the Golden Gate Depot brand is very well known for the cars. So I've actually just kind of changed I created DBAs for Golden Gate Depot under Sunset Models. So it's part of the company this year, but it's just another brand name. So Third Rail is a brand name, Golden Gate Depot is a brand name, Sunset Models is the parent company.
thanks for clarifying that. We've got that on the record now. I don't know whether anybody has ever actually figured that out before now, but there it is. So thank you.
There you go.
Uh,
You have any other questions out there before I jump in the pool?
Are most Golden Gate Depot cars aluminum or plastic?
Most of the Golden Gate Depot stuff is extruded aluminum. We do basically consists of cars, trains, named trains, and then we were doing things like heavyweight cars in plastic and head-end heavyweight cars and things like that. You can't really do that as an extrusion because you need all the rivets and the relief of panels and things like that. You need to do a plastic mold for that. But recently, here's a new technology that we came up with. There are some cars out there that lend themselves very well to aluminum extrusion, but they need rivets and things like that. So we have a technique now where we print rivets onto the aluminum before they're painted, and they show up in relief. And so now we have riveted like ACF cars, things like that, so that they're riveted, but they're extruded aluminum. So we keep moving forward with our technology to make things a little more prototypical. And the plastic cars, we're going to be rerunning some heavyweight cars coming up. These tools are coming from another factory. They were actually made by AccuCraft, and Bing Chang is the founder of AccuCraft, and he's been my buddy for the last 25 years. So he got me into the plastic car business, and so we're going to be moving that tooling over to our car manufacturer to get the heavyweight cars done.
Fantastic. Hey, one of the things that is really interesting about Sunset models that I've noticed on your diesels and your passenger cars is the decal process. There is no decal film on Sunset models, even when it's obvious that a road name, striping, something like that has been applied. Can you tell us briefly about the decal process that you use? Because it's different than what we're used to over here.
I can only tell you that I've became familiar with that when I started going to Korea back in the 1990s and 2000s. And that's the standard way that they made decals. And basically you put them on like a wet decal, let it dry, and then you gently heat the film that's on top and peel it off. And it just leaves the ink, the powdered ink on the model. And it's so strong, you have to sand it off if you made a mistake. So it's a very durable decal method. And then they overspray it with some polyurethane or what have you, some clear coat. Then, but now I've noticed that our factory prefers doing pad printing, and that's great and everything, but it makes it difficult for us to fix someone's model or make corrections to something like renumber a model. The pad printing does come off pretty easily with alcohol, or goof off takes it off very well and without disturbing the paint underneath. But it's just an extra step, and that's what I know about the decals and the lettering.
Super.
Okay.
Well, I know that we're the only thing standing between you and your swimming pool. And I really appreciate you taking the time. It's wonderful to be introduced to Peter, and we'll look
Guys,
forward to good things with him.
Get ready for all the emails, Peter.
I'm ready. I don't have anything else to do, so don't worry.
All right.
Well, I could find something.
Any last minute questions for Scott before we let him go to his California paradise?
I had
I'm
one
out
about
too.
I'm sorry.
I'm heading out too, so
All right. Well,
A
thank
quick-
you very much for
Quick question.
appearing and
Got a
updating
question.
us, and good luck with dealing with the tariff situation.
There's a question out there.
Yeah, I've reserved your UP Dome, and I'm just wondering if you're going to do the other types. I believe it's just the Coach Dome that you have at this time. Do you have the other two in plans?
I'm sorry, which dome car are you talking about? The
The
Heritage?
Union Pacific, well, it's off the Heritage fleet, but they
Mm.
also have the diner as well as the lounge, and I'm just wondering if you plan on doing them in the future too.
So there's what is the UP train called when it wasn't the Heritage? It was
Streamliner, where are the Streamliners?
Streamliners, but they had a
Or the
name
city
for it.
trains. City
Mhm.
trains.
Yeah, the city train. So after we're done with the heritage cars, I mean, they're basically the same cars, but without some of the roof detail. We will announce the city trains. Yeah,
I'm excited to see them.
there
Thanks.
you go. There you go.
Thank you,
Before
Scott.
Scott leaves, I'd like to also make a comment, if it's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Do it.
What we haven't talked about is the customer service. I have dealt with their company for a long time, and their customer service is
Mm,
unbelievable. My story is last year when the Superliners arrived, there was a mistake on one of the cars. And so
mm.
I unpacked them, I wrote Scott we're Arizona and California at the same time basically, and told him send pictures of what was wrong. And at midnight, I had an email with a shipping label telling me to ship them back. Literally, I said, "Wait a minute, that couldn't be right." His email was at midnight that same night saying, "Send it back to me." Of course, I did, and we're happy now. But I don't know if I'm guessing that all of us have that type of experience with dealing with Scott and his company.
Oh, thank you very much. Now, don't all of you get up in the middle of the night for a few hours and then go back to sleep? I mean, that's just part of aging, right? Or am I unique?
So
So
we're
I
not
get
going
up at
there
midnight.
either.
I get up at midnight. I look at my emails, answer a few, and then I make a list. You know, if you don't make a list of your to-dos for the next day, then you're thinking about it the whole time you're trying to go to sleep. So I make a list, and then I can go back to sleep and get my full night's sleep after that. But customer service, okay, my hobby is not necessarily trains. My hobby is RC planes, and I joined the club out here, and I just got back today flying a few planes with my buddies. And when I need a part and I contact a company, if they don't get back to me, I'll never buy from them again. What's the point? So if I buy something and it's damaged and they're not like right on it, then they've basically said to me, we don't want your business again. So I am very sensitive to that, and I'll help anybody with a reasonable problem with something that they bought from us recently. Of course, I can't do something for models that have been purchased on eBay and auctions, and I got this and it's bent. But there's various people that I can send them to that do repair trains, and we do have just a smattering of parts in our warehouse for each project we made. They were just leftover parts. And if we dig through the boxes, we might be able to find a side rod or screws that were unique to that model. And I'm dedicated to that because I experience it myself. And I don't want that disappointment to get out to the customers. That's all.
All right, Scott Mann, thank you
Yeah.
very much. We're going to excuse you so you can get back to your pool. Peter, thank you for appearing, and Scott, thanks for the introduction to Peter. And he's got a very distinctive email, so I'm sure that people will be reaching out to him. Thank you very much. And
Thanks
if
for
I
having
were
me,
you,
David.
I would
Thanks for
sign
having me.
off before you get more questions. Thanks very much.
Okay.
All right,
Have a good weekend, guys.
thank you. All right, tell you what, we're going to turn to our next guest, and I want to introduce Al Puglisi. Al is a recent convert. Wave your hand, Al. As a recent convert to O-Scale 2 Rail, and like a lot of converts, he brings a lot of energy and enthusiasm to his OS2R work. Um, He's presently partnering with Howard Zane. I don't know how many of you know him, but Howard is a prolific and gifted builder of structures commercially, and he is doing more and more O-scale projects, and Al is working with him. And he's also in the business of videoing layouts, also with a focus on O-scale when he can get it. And Al is going to tell us what he's been up to, talking briefly about his work with Howard and his work videoing. And then as an outstanding example of Al's video efforts, he's going to show us a video he made of Ed Rapi's 2,400 square foot, that's right, 2,400 square foot, O-scale Penzi layout, which was a cover layout in Model Railroader about a year and a half ago. I am good friends with Ed, and we've been working to get him on the program for over a year. But Sunday afternoons are unworkable for Ed and his wife, and I think his wife makes sure that he doesn't stray into model railroading on Sunday afternoons. But Al worked it out with Ed at one of Ed's open houses and ended up shooting 4 videos. But I'd like to have Al A introduce himself, and B tell us a little bit, and I know the main item is going to be the Ed Rapi video, but tell us a little bit about your work with Howard, and what you're doing in terms of your own YouTube channel. And by the way, think about having Al come and shoot your layout. He's very good, and he's very interested in having O-scale documented. But Al,
Well,
unmute yourself.
All right. I'm okay. For a long time. I live about 30 minutes from you, David. And I've known Howard Zane since I was, I'm 64. I'm 64. I've known Howard since I was 19. I'm what you might call a bipolar model railroader. I have a large HO layout, which I'm not tearing down. It's 33 by 33 feet. It's floor to ceiling in a lot of places. It's a freelance model railroad, cast back in the late 50s with a cellulose-like, George cellulose-like city. And I've always loved O-scale. I've always preferred O-scale, but I could never afford it. And when I went full-time in retirement, now I've retired into my hobby, model railroading, Howard Zane and I have been building structures and selling structures. And a lot of our clients are O-scale, especially high rail scale customers, but O-scale clients. And I would say that 50% of what we've been building has been for O-scale clients. So that's been very successful. And I explained to my wife that I'm going to need more space because I'm going to have to build a O-scale layout. So I have a large 28 by 16 foot garage attached to the old garage, which is 22 by 14 feet in like an L shape. And reluctantly, my wife said, okay, take it. She's got the whole upstairs of the house. I've got the downstairs. And that's going to be the O-scale layout where we're going to display and feature of a lot of Howard Zane's, or 99% of what will be on that layout are going to be Howard Zane designed structures that will be built in O-scale. And I'll finally have an O-scale layout, 2-rail O-scale layout that I can have a lot of fun with. So, you know, I'm not getting rid of the HO layout, but the HO layout is almost finished. I've been working on that since I was 13 years old. And in my retirement in model railroading, it won't be much more time till I'm pretty much out of things to do on the HO railroad, which opens the door up for this new O-scale adventure that I'm going to be entering. So that's a quick story behind that. The YouTube channel that I started is Al Puglisi Trains. You can type in Al Puglisi, Pugliese trains, or just type in a search Howard Zane. I've got about 800 videos. I've got about 12,000 subscribers, so it's not a huge channel, but it's a good channel for the model railroading because I average between 70 and 170,000 viewers a month. So I may not have a lot of subscribers, but we have hundreds of thousands of people looking at the channel. And the purpose of the channel is twofold, pretty much. One, promotes me. I'm out there. I can help you with your model railroad. Howard Zane and I can furnish structures for you. I like super detailing model railroads. Unfortunately, I also take down model railroads. That's another thing that I've wound up finding myself doing for families. So the channel is a forum for me to let people know these are my services. And the other part of the channel is to help the hobby any way I can. All scales, every scale. I want to promote the hobby. So I'm looking for particularly 2 rail O scale layouts that are very well done that I can feature because, well, they're hard to find out there. So if any of you all have a layout or know of a layout that I might be able to get to feature, you can contact David or I, give you the information later, and maybe we can work something out. So anybody have any questions on that? It's pretty straightforward.
Thank you, Al. Let's go ahead and Al has an interesting interview technique. And fortunately, in dealing with Ed Rapi's layout, Ed is a very good narrator himself. So Ed and Al sort of do a team narration on this. And we'll have some opportunities for questions after the video, but we'll start right now with playing the video, and let's make sure. All right. I'm trying to make sure that we get full screen on this. So far, not. All right. We're going to start it, and it is, I think, about 40 minutes. Here it is.
Hey everybody, Al Puglisi Trains, and today I have Ed Rapi. Ed, how are you?
Welcome.
And
Doing well. We got a beautiful winter day here.
yes, and you see part 1 on the channel, and this is part 2. I'm going to interview Ed and have him tell us about the layout. So I'm going to stop talking, and I'll ask Ed some questions, and he's going to walk us around the layout and talk about this incredible work of art. So let me pause it and take you on a journey. All right, Ed, now this is not your first layout.
No, this is the 4th O-scale layout since converting from O-scale back in the 1970s.
Oh my goodness.
I met a famous O-scaler, John Armstrong, in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Mhm.
I was in the Army at the time,
Mhm.
assigned to the Washington area, and I visited his layout, and I'm blown away by the feel of O-scale.
Wow.
And as a model builder, I found that I could work more easily on the larger scale models.
Right.
So I sold the HO,
Okay.
and it became a journey from a very small 12 by 14 O-scale loop
Mhm.
to what you're seeing today. It's my retirement dream layout.
Yes, and this is about 3,000 square feet.
It's about 2,200,
Okay.
2,400 in the basement,
Okay.
2,200 allocated to the railroad.
Oh my goodness.
And we have a little over 2,000 feet of track, 125 turnouts. And the railroad tries to capture the operational feel of the Pennsylvania Railroad set in the 1950s, the early 50s.
Okay.
It was in the period of transition from steam to diesel, excuse me. And I picked that time frame because I could have both then. So I could have all the famous Penske steam engines as well as the early the diesels.
The diesels.
And what we're modeling here is the central part of Pennsylvania, where the middle division of the PRR followed the Juniata River up to Altoona, which was at the base of the Alleghenies. So we have a section of the PRR's middle division, which was basically flat river running railroad. And then at Altoona, there were engine changes and helpers were applied to get up the grade around Horseshoe Curve to a place called Gallitzin at the top of the Alleghenies. And so I have a section of the Middle Division and a section of the Pittsburgh Division, the Mountain Railroad, and two branch line interchanges. One, a coal branch that the Pennsy had into central Pennsylvania, the Tyrone and Clearfield branch, had over 60 coal mines on that branch.
Oh my goodness.
And the role of the railroad was to serve those mines and bring the loaded coal cars down to the main line of the Middle Division for onward movement, both east to the cities in the east and also west to Pittsburgh and the mills.
All right, Ed. Now, what section is this we're in?
All right, we're at the easternmost section of the model part of the railroad. It's a town called Huntingdon. It's on the Middle Division. And the key attribute of this town was that it had an interchange with a short line railroad called the Huntington and Broadtop, which served some coal mines in the south central part of the state. And what I try to do on a railroad, you can't model the Pennsylvania Railroad because it's so huge.
Right.
But what I try to do is capture elements of it that model the operation in that area.
Right.
The key operational element in Huntingdon was the interchange with that short line, H&BT, of the Huntington and Broadtop Mountain Railroad. And the buildings and structures try to capture the feel of what the town was like in the 50s, but certainly not modeling the town like I try to model the trains on the railroad.
Right.
And so you're looking right now as a street scene, and as we look to our left, you're seeing some of they had a big paper manufacturer in town and several others. So, but operationally, there's coal traffic that comes down via the local freight on the short line, but also every day, twice a day, trains paused here to exchange milk cars.
Oh, goodness.
The Supply Milk Car Company,
milk
company of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So here you have the short line railroad H&BT morning train ready to take an empty milk car south to the town of Bedford, where the tanks in the milk car would be loaded. And then later in the afternoon of the same day, bring the milk car back up to Huntingdon, and a eastbound Pennsylvania Railroad passenger train would pick up two milk cars, one that originated on the H&BT, one that originated at a small creamery in Huntingdon proper, and they would then move onward. So again, here's one of the nice features I wanted to capture was that it's a passenger train switching operation.
Okay.
Whereas most of our switching typically has to do with freight. But this gave me a break or an opportunity to model some passenger train operations.
Oh, goodness. All right, let me pause it here. All right, Ed. Now, what do we have here?
This is the control panel of the tower operation for the eastern part of the railroad. And what we have is east of Huntingdon are a set of 8 staging tracks.
Okay.
And they're in the form of a loop. You can see them here. They're hidden. They're under the railroad. Okay. We have 5 loop for continuous for through freights and passenger, and we have 3 stub-ended, and that's where our local freight operations, our local freight trains originate and stage on the stub-ended tracks. They're monitored with occupancy detection. LEDs tell me whether the track is occupied or not.
Okay.
And that's supplanted. Nowadays, we can buy relatively low-cost security camera systems, and what you have here is a quad view of the hidden staging tracks.
Now, behind you, do we have some staging we can peek at?
Yes.
Let's pause it here. Here's some staging underneath the layout, folks. There's an immense amount of staging on this layout. And I just wanted to get under here where we were standing, just to give you a little idea of the neatiness and the tidiness of it. And let's go back out with Ed. Great. Okay, Ed, tell us about the viaduct, the scenery you were talking about.
One of the classic elements of the Pennsylvania Railroad's Middle Division is that it follows the Juniata River. And there are dozens of stone arch bridges across parts of the Juniata. Some of them 5, 6 arches. Here, I only had the space for one, but this is my double arch bridge to capture the feel. of the PRR in the Juniata River area.
Beautiful. And it's a deep scene. The trees are, how did you make the trees?
There are several thousand trees on the railroad,
Yes.
and the way I did it is with goldenrod.
Okay, goldenrod.
And essentially, in the fall, you harvest the goldenrod when it's past bloom,
Okay.
and you dip the dried goldenrod in white glue, sprinkle ground foam on it, and you get forest. I don't claim that you get trees. Individually, they don't look that great.
Right.
But if you plant them close together, it gives you the forest effect that's what you see when you're in the actual area of Pennsylvania. Typically, along the right of way, you don't focus on an individual tree. You're just looking at that vast green backdrop.
And you wait till the golden, the yellow flowers falling off it.
It becomes brown.
Okay.
And you tape sprigs together with floral tape, brown floral tape.
Okay.
And you just drill holes in the plaster scenery, hard shell scenery, and just plant the tree.
Because I'm highly allergic to goldenrod. I take Claritin.
There's one.
Yep. But once it falls off, the golden flowers, and once you flock them into glue, like you say, and cover them, I don't smell. Folks, I'm highly allergic to goldenrod in September, October, and I have no allergic reaction down here. There's no odor.
To harvest goldenrod, you wait till after Thanksgiving.
Oh, you wait till after Thanksgiving. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and pause it here, and we're going to move on. And this is a city. We're going to talk about that with Ed. But Ed, tell us about this entry lift out you've got here.
One of the things I wanted to avoid in this layout was, as you get older, you don't want duck hunters.
Right.
So I was really striving to get rid of duck hunters. And this is a lift section with a turnout on it.
Okay.
And this is how visitors access the room. Once you're in the operating mode of the layout, you never have to go out. You can stay within the aisles here.
Right.
But the first town on the railroad is this part of the railroad is Tyrone. And this is where the coal branch up into Clearfield County met the Pennsy Main Line with a Y. And the branch line trains would come down, drop off their loaded hopper cars, pick up empties, go back up. They would turn on the Y.
Wow.
And this is a freelanced version of the brick station at Tyrone.
Okay, this one here. Did you scratch it? Oh, so you scratched it?
This actually is a Mike's Train House plastic structure that I replaced all the windows and made some other alterations. But basically, the starting point was an MTH plastic structure.
You'd never know. Never. And then let's talk about this bridge up here that's...
Again, this would be an upper end of the Juniata River. And you're looking at a scratch-built deck truss. And that was scratch-built by a dear friend who's no longer with us, Ted Steppick. And you can't see it at this distance, but it's hand-punched rivets, and it's made out of plastic.
Really?
Sheet plastic.
Let's see if we can just get... I'm not going to lean over, but... oh, it's beautiful. And the river, the way you did the river, forced perspective, and down here, the rest of it going through town is really beautiful. And then let's go ahead and pause it here. I wanted to, Ed, tell us about the town. This is really impressive.
Again, I didn't model exact structures in the town of Tyrone, but I wanted to capture the 1950s feel.
Who made that?
Yep.
And, the gas station was going to be a Texaco station because our generation back then well knew Texaco.
Right.
But today it's no longer with us.
I'm not really watching. I just love.
Stainless steel diner.
Where did you get that?
It's really nice.
Would you believe that was a telephone? It was a handset that you lifted off the top, and I found it in a cheap imported goods store.
This diner.
And yeah, just as you see.
People don't know what mute means.
It was about 40 years ago I found it.
What this thing is beautiful, folks. This is really superb with an interior. I mean, they're all. I could stare at this.
The interior actually came with it.
And it was a phone.
It was a phone. The roof is the handset of the phone.
Oh my goodness.
And when you lifted it off, it played Rock Around the Clock.
Oh my God. If you ever find another one, you need to buy one and let us know. And tell us about how you built this town. You just
Bunch of different structures, some scratch built. Most of them were commercial kits from Woodland Scenics
Mhm.
or Walther's Cornerstone.
Mhm.
And this is an Atlas lumberyard. That's scratch built.
this car here.
Yes.
This car is beautiful. This
Lumber loaded flat. You
That's
know.
a very beautiful. Let's just go around. Let me go ahead and pause this. All right, I'm back here. Tell us about this, Ed. This
Okay,
is
this fuel company is named after Jim Taverna, Taverna Fuel.
Ooh.
He worked for Mobil Oil.
okay.
I try to name some of the businesses on the railroads for my friends that are modelers.
Uh-huh.
And you saw Armstrong Manufacturing has a building in Tyrone. This is Taverna Fuel, and Obama Lumber is an SKH modeler in our group. He has a
Yes.
lumber yard. And coming around the bend here, this is a Walther's building, and it's Tyler Ford. He's my grandson. So all the automobiles in the dealership here are all Fords from the 1951-52 time frame.
And this is a Walther's
Cornerstone building.
I didn't know they had O-scale Cornerstone buildings.
They did.
Did I wonder, are they discontinued or?
At this point, don't know.
Don't know.
But the signage on it, I basically use photos off the internet.
Right. This is exquisite.
And you're looking down the street scene of Tyrone.
Mm-hmm.
And the tough thing in doing this was marking the streets and putting in the meters. I built the railroad so that you could climb up and on it. And so I had to start down one end of the street and work my way down towards where I could climb off the railroad without damaging anything.
Yeah, the parking meters, I just now noticed. I just now noticed. I was telling Andre, in O-scale, one of the challenges is telephone poles, parking meters, little things that you never notice on an HO layout you're going to see in O-scale. Do a little night scene here.
Wow.
Best we can, 10 o'clock in the afternoon on a sunny day. But yeah, you can see the lights. This is really impressive. Really impressive scene. And while Ed is turning the lights back on, I'm just going to walk through our original layout. Our original visit, I didn't get behind this town. All right, now tell us about this expanse here.
And now we're on the line moving west towards Altoona from Tyrone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a critical function here is the interchange for coal traffic coming down off the branch line.
Okay.
See that in our backdrop.
Okay.
Empties and loads. Right now, the crew has already pulled the loads and empties.
Okay.
Typically, you'd see a cutter of hoppers here.
Mm-hmm.
This is the main line, 3-track main line moving railroad west.
And you have about a 3% max grade?
Up here on the branch line, you've got a 3.2% grade.
Okay.
And there's an access path behind that hillside.
Okay.
I had a buddy that was 6'2", and I designed the ridge height here so that he couldn't see the hole.
Right.
And he was my model for designing how high the ridge line had to be to give the perspective that you can't see the access hole in the scene.
And I'm about 6'3", and I don't see it. Oh, go ahead and do that again, Ed, with the hand. There he is. Yep.
I'm now in the back side of the scene, an access point, and I'll walk up.
Now, force perspective while Ed's walking up there. Oh, good. I didn't know this existed.
And so here we have a farm scene. It's in force perspective. Back further along the hillside is an HO structure. Those of you who've been in HO a long time will recognize the Revell farmhouse and barn. Now with the tobacco signage on the side.
And it was interesting. We talked earlier that these are O-scale cows. We were joking they're pretty big, the foreground cows, and actually HO cows in the background for force perspective. And the layout is so big, folks, that the bottom line layout is so big that this scene here is about 7 or 8 feet deep, I believe. It gives you the force perspective. These are big cows. They're almost 2 inches. But they look small, but they look the correct size.
They're the correct size.
They're the correct size.
1 to 48.
and then the HO cows 8 feet away are in the distance. This really looks real. And again, talking about the trees, Ed was saying earlier about you don't have to have every single tree, look like you just need the bulk of trees is what works. And this looks really real, the presentation. Tell us about that mine, Ed.
On the branch line, Tyrone and Clearfield branch, while the prototype had 50 to 60 coal mines, we have 3 mines, and this is the first of them. And it's a small mine forced up into the backdrop. I could only get 5 hoppers on this one. In this case, you're looking at 3. And but this is what a town called Summit. And so the branch line, the Tyrone Clearfield, went up and out of one valley, over Summit, back down the other side to the junction with the PRR Middle Division at Tyrone. So this gives us some operational flexibility. We have a runaround track here. And coal trains that have to double the hill will lay over here, go back down, get the second half of the cut of coal cars, couple up, maybe pick up and spot empties and loads at the local mine here, and then down to the main line.
Again, I'm 6'2", and you don't see any of the cutout holes, access holes, unless I stick the camera above my head. So I'm actually 6'3", so you still don't see the access holes, though. It's very impressive. So let me pause this. All right, Ed, I'm going to follow you. Talk about this duck under. This duck under here is not really a duck under. It's about 6'3" off the ground, isn't it?
Yep. So you don't have to duck.
Right, I don't have to duck.
So this is where the branch line goes over the aisle, and we're going to walk around DCC radio controlled throttles, and the engineers follow their trains. And again, I didn't want duck overs, but in designing the railroad, I made sure that the branch cleared the aisle. Wow. And we continue to follow the main.
Okay.
And now we're approaching Altoona, and this is the area where I still have a lot more scenery work to do. I haven't modeled the structures in downtown Altoona yet.
Right.
But as you can see, the tree line stops here. I gotta wait till next November and harvest some more goldenrod.
Wow. Is there a lot of goldenrod down here?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
You can find it. You know where you find it? On power lines.
Really?
Underneath power lines.
And the harvest, when is the best time to harvest?
After Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving. Okay. Because I used a wild hydrangea, I can't find it anymore.
And so now we're approaching Altoona. Altoona for the PRR was their main shop town and division point between the Pittsburgh and Middle Divisions, and just miles and miles of track in the yard.
Right.
This is very selective, but it gives us the operational features I was looking for.
Right.
Crew changes, engine power changes, particularly steam. Through most of the steam era in the PRR, they would have like 482s on the Middle Division with prime power, and then they would put heavier steam and helpers to get up the grade on the Pittsburgh Division. Typically, 210-4s were the ultimate power, steam power.
The hippos.
And decapods, 210-0s. Yeah. Here's a deck that brought this cut of empties down, probably out of Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this gives you the feel. I mean, and you're going to put some backdrop flats back in here.
And you can show, the intent here is to do that with flats.
Right.
And it was at the station scene in downtown Altoona in my time frame had a train shed over the tracks here, a station, parking lot, and the backside of a bunch of businesses like J.C. Penney's, and clothing stores and the like.
This run here is about what, 50 feet?
This you're looking at 50 feet here. Yeah,
okay.
Maybe 48. Yeah.
And the height is about 47 inches.
We designed the railroad. I wanted a railroad that I could still reach across.
Right.
And but I wanted it high enough so that I could do work underneath it without hitting my head all the time.
Right.
And so the base elevation on the railroad is 47 inches.
But behind you, it obviously climbs.
And now we're looking at the westbound line. And so at this end of the aisle, you're at the engine servicing facilities, where a lot of the steam got changed out. And in fact, Here's one of the 210-4s, Texas
J1.
J1, and there's a pair of M1s getting ready to go out on the middle division.
Oh yeah.
And diesel power in the 50s were generally run-throughs. They would be put on in the Enola yard at Harrisburg and then run west.
And then this is the upgrade here behind us.
And here's a power plant we'll get a trestle in here. There's always projects to be done.
Right.
In fact, to me, the enjoyment is building.
Yes.
And now we're starting the climb west on the Pittsburgh division up towards Horseshoe Curve and around to the tunnels at Gallitzin.
Wow. Let's take it over. I'm just going to walk over to Horseshoe Curve. So the real purpose of this layout really is you want to capture the flavor of real operations on the Pennsylvania Railroad.
That's it.
And that's it in a nutshell. And a lot of beautiful calming scenery. And I love the way did you do the backdrop painting?
Yeah, I did. No artistry there.
I disagree. It really blends well. Now, folks, this is a staging track above my head. Is it okay if I go in and show some folks this?
Sure. The western end of the railroad has 5 hidden staging tracks, and like the eastern end of the railroad, the Pittsburgh division staging is monitored by TV cameras.
Okay.
And is out of sight.
I'm going to climb up there right now, folks. Okay, here's the staging. I'm up on a step ladder, and just so you folks can see, this is all hidden, all out of the way, and there's also just as much, if not more, below the layout as there is above the layout, isn't there?
Yeah. Actually, we built and hung the overhead loops before we built the track beneath.
My Lord. All right, let me come down, and we'll go into Horseshoe Curve. All right, now, Ed, you wanted to step up into Horseshoe Curve, correct?
Yeah, I experimented with a bunch of stools to see what was the optimal viewing level for this raised scene in Horseshoe Curve. And if you've ever visited Horseshoe Curve, the railroad is above you quite a bit, several hundred feet above the parking lot. But so I played with the height of this, and I ended up with a 2-step as being comfortable for me. I wanted to be at train level looking at the trains coming around.
Right.
And yet retain the feel of the railroad being above us as it went. And so the climb up Horseshoe Curve is, on my model, is 2.2%, I think. The prototype was 1.75, but it's enough of a grade to force you to have enough power on the front end of a long freight train to run it. So it is a legitimate helper district.
Oh, wow. Now, I did see a duplex, a T1 struggle to pull.
Yes,
she struggled, but she did it. She's a beast.
Yeah. And so this is the Horseshoe Curve scene. At the prototype in the 50s, you had a watchtower and you had the stone horseshoe.
Oh, wow.
And lots of uneven steps as you climbed up. And I did it in both the summer and the winter.
Now, when did the locomotive? Didn't they have a locomotive here?
Yes, in the late 1950s, they brought a retired Pennsylvania Railroad K4.
Okay.
And it was up there. I don't have it in my model because in 1952 the K4s were still running. They were not parked.
Right.
But there was a viewing area up there, and literally, as I was learning more about the Pennsylvania, we would drive up from Northern Virginia, and back then we could actually walk the right of way without getting arrested. Nowadays you don't want to do that.
What's the radius and the curves on this?
In this case, I believe that's the innermost one is 62.
Okay.
And then 64-inch separations.
Okay.
And 4-track.
Man. And we'll run some trains at the end of this video, folks, if that's okay. And Ed, you were talking about this this seafood restaurant. That's famous.
It's Italian restaurant.
Oh, Italian, yes.
It probably was the best Italian restaurant in the center part of Pennsylvania, and I've had house guests come through, visitors, non-model railroaders.
Mhm.
The thing they remark most about it often, if they're local to Altoona, that was the tent, the restaurant that I went to for my wedding dinner or
Oh my
whatever.
goodness.
It was that kind of place. It was well known.
How did you do the billboard? Was it just you Googled a sign or something?
I Googled the name and it's no longer in business, but I
Oh,
found the sign and I was able to Photoshop it to get it for the scene.
so I can't go there to eat.
No,
Oh
sorry.
Lord, that's okay. Let's pause this. Let's talk a little about the signals.
Most recent addition to the railroad was adding digital signaling.
Mhm.
And I never thought I could do it, but apparently there became some new commercial control systems called layout command and control. It's an NMRA standard, relatively new,
Mhm.
and several companies are now making control circuits. And basically, you're monitoring the route, occupied, monitoring the turnouts along the route, like through an interlocking.
Mhm.
And PRR, Pensy, had position light signals. The signals you saw in that first clip shows slow approach
Oh wow.
because the next block would be occupied. And if I reroute the track and put a train there, it would show a block. If you go over here
Let's
and look at it this way,
Oh yeah. Now it flickers because of the camera, folks, but it doesn't in real life.
and
It
now
doesn't.
you can see an interlocking signal. And it's showing the upper target is telling you to stop because the route ahead, there are tracks in the staging are fully occupied.
Wow.
If I had an empty track in staging and had the turnouts through the interlocking properly set, it would show a full clear or slow approach if you were crossing over one of the crossovers in the interlocking.
So now let me pause this and I'll show folks another access hatch. All right, you have another staging access hatch.
Yeah. This is the middle division staging, the hidden area you first saw. And to gain access to it, I built removable panels that are held on by rare earth magnets.
Oh my goodness.
And so I can clean the track, or should we have a rare derailment? You got to be able to get at things. So.
Oh yes, very nicely done. Let me pause this. All right, tell us about this little control center, Ed.
Okay, this is the control point for the Pittsburgh division. And here are the DCC boxes, boosters, and the control unit. The track diagram. This is digitally routed. So the towerman selects the incoming track, like track 3, and now I want to route to one of the staging, like C. I select C, hit activate, and the turnouts throw.
Oh my goodness.
The LEDs give you an indication so you can trace your route
Okay.
and see that you've hit the desired route you wanted. There's also, using the layout command control system, I've also built a collision avoidance. If somebody inadvertently runs into staging with an occupied track, there's a 4-foot section of rail in there that a relay will trip and not allow the rear end collision.
You could have, yes, some major escalations.
And here we have, like on the middle division, there are the video cameras perspectives on the division. This one is looking at the tunnel faces, looking westbound. This is looking down towards Horseshoe Curve, eastbound, and the 5 staging tracks, the inbound ladder coming around, and there they are sitting. In this case, we have a full house, 5 trains.
God. Okay, Jim, how are we going to end this as we double back out?
Okay, there's the mine we pointed to earlier in the video, and now we're up and over the aisle. And now we're going northbound on the branch line over this little creek scene.
Beautiful.
And now we're heading down to a town called Osceola Mills, which was the collection yard and dispatching point for the coal branch runs.
Okay, this is about 6'3", 6'4" height, I think. About that.
And yeah, this is 5'9".
Oh yeah.
And there's one of the coal mines.
Beautiful. And then you walk into
and with its company houses.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Alrighty.
And this town is named after a dear friend of mine, John Roberts, past president of the NMRA, who's no longer with us. But he was influential in laying out the situation here at the coal branch.
That's about 5'9" off the ground, and you're good size. You're about 5'8".
No, I'm shrunk.
Oh,
I was 5'9" when
okay.
my prime. I'm down to 5'7.5".
You're not 5 feet tall. No. You know, that's what I want to get at, folks. This thing is so impressive.
And now we're approaching the collection town of Osceola Mills, and it had an engine facility and a small yard, and branch line locals would go out to the various tipples and pick up and deliver loads and empties, and often, almost daily often. And so we have 3 mines on the layout. You've seen the first 2. And here's the newest. I added this about a year ago. And another tipple.
I love this one.
And so a crew of 2 men typically will run the branch, and the cycle of loads and empties down to the main line might be about 1.5 hours to 2 hours.
Oh my God. Is there a hidden turntable somewhere in staging? Somebody I heard them talking about. We'll end the video with that turntable. Well, we're going to end this part of the video. And tell us about this turntable. Why did you put it here?
Well, I had no space to model a full length of the Huntington and Broadtop Mountain, and I had to be able to turn the locomotive some way. And so I picked up an Atlas plastic turntable. It's hidden. It's Geneva motion. And this, when we run southbound on the Huntington and Broadtop, we cut the steam locomotive off, put them on the table, turn them, so he can return for the afternoon run back up to Huntington.
Oh my Lord. Let me get underneath if I could. Folks, we're underneath here. And Andre, why don't you turn around? And this is so neat, the wiring and everything underneath here. And let you see, Andre's here with me. How you doing, Andre?
Hey, good seeing you, Al. What a treat to be here.
And he has little stools that you can rest on while you work under here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole little world back here. You see all the passenger cars?
Yeah.
Big horseshoe shape. And then you've got cameras in here. If you go right up here, Al, you've got a camera.
Right.
And it just keeps track of things.
I had to add the LED strip light.
So you can see.
The camera capture
the
right view of the scene. But you're looking at a cut of coal cars there on the Tyrone and Clearfield branch.
But rather than changing the elevation of the layout,
right,
changes the level of sight vision by raising the floor.
Right, you raise the floor, and that's
So
incredibly.
you can see floors in the back. It's much higher.
Right.
3 steps up. It's
Right.
a step and a half. This one over here to your
This is
left.
horseshoe curve in here. We were just at.
Yeah.
Let me pause this. And we could spend another 2 or 3 hours talking about this layout, but I want to thank you. At least this gives folks a real flavor of this masterpiece.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the compliments. It's meant to be shared.
Right.
We have a crew of locals here that come by. We alternate round robin on Monday nights. And we're trying to move into closer to prototype timetable operations. We have not done that yet. We did that in my former layout in Fairfax. We enjoyed it. And so it's about time. The railroad now has advanced to the point where we can do it. And but I've got more work to do to set up the timetable and the movement schedules.
Wow.
But we look forward to that. Something to look forward to.
Well, is it okay if you run a train
Sure.
through Horseshoe Curve? Let's do it.
We'll do a mainline train and a branch line train.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, folks,
We
Ed's
have him on track.
picking a train now to run for us, and watch part 1. See more trains running. Oh, here she comes. 2 K4s.
A K4 and a K5.
Ooh, train greatness. Heading toward Horseshoe Curve. Yeah, that's what I told you the other night. Folks, we have a little treat here. Train stopped, and happy people in this O scale. Beautiful, beautiful brass passenger car. We told Ed that Andre and I, we made an HO centipede teaser video for our visit here today, and this is the O scale centipedes, and they are damn near 4 feet across. Crazy. They're beautiful. Well, folks, Ed's given us a treat running centipedes. Splendid centipedes.
We're gonna put back on the end.
For a treat. You see these monsters.
Fantastic.
What a splendid sight here.
You would pick up 6171. So
Get the whistle. Andre runs, and today you're running
here we
with
go.
O scale J1. Wow, that courageous. The first time running O scale, isn't it?
You know what? It doesn't feel any different.
Right.
It just seems like I'm a little closer to the equipment.
on the cabin and under that signal.
Slow her down, folks. We're getting her out of the way to make room for the centipedes. Having a fun time here, running and moving trains. And it is total drag.
Yeah, a little sticky. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to coordinate.
Yeah, so the centipedes are going to be pushing this cold drag.
Yeah.
16. Yep. Thank you. Here we go, folks. We got centipedes pushing. She is straining to get up this grade. But she's not slipping. No, breath. There. Incremental.
Yeah.
She pushes. This is just, we tried to do this. We need to try to look at. The J1 fights with the centipedes pushing as she heads the horseshoe curve. But you're never going to see anything like this. J1 with centipede pushers in O scale 2 reel. Blow that whistle, Andre. Centipedes. Yeah, these centipedes, folks, it's probably 3 inches long, if maybe longer than that. They're probably 48 inches, the two of them. Pretty close to it. Oh, comes more traffic. Oh, G1. Oh, goodness. Uh, oh, hope you enjoy this, folks. Oh, J1 is on play. Hope this will go back to where they can the best helping can. This is one of the most beautiful locomotives in the It's one of my favorites. Thanks so much for watching this, folks. Thanks for Ed. They let us to visit, film this incredible work of art.
All right. I want to thank Al Puglisi for making this video available. Obviously, Ed Rapi's layout is um, enough to keep a videographer busy for a week. And in fact, Al did go ahead and made 4 different videos. I invite you to check them out at Al Puglisi's Trains. Al has had to leave, so we're not going to get a chance for direct questions to him, although I think there was a reasonable amount of explanation for the videos as we went through it. If there are questions, Ed Rapi, before he moved to Williamsburg, Virginia, was in Northern Virginia, just outside the Beltway, and in fact, he is one of the Washington, Baltimore round robin O scale folks, and it's been my pleasure not only to be friends and watch Ed build his layouts. But there was a mention in the video that this was the fourth layout that he had. His third layout was also on a Tenzi horseshoe curve theme, except the space constraints in his basement in the DC area was such that he could only get 3 tracks on the horseshoe curve, and it was slanted the wrong direction. I've forgotten which is upgrade and which is downgrade, but things that would not have necessarily appealed to me as a nickel plate modeler made Ed crazy. So when he got to his retirement house, he basically designed a layout and a layout space and at least the outlines of the way it was going to look, and then built a house over the top. So he started with the layout space and then added a house sort of as a bonus for his wife, I guess. In any event, if anybody has any questions, I will try and answer them, although it was Al who actually did the video. Are any questions? If not, I want to tell everybody this wraps it up for the formal OSCAL Central Online program. I want to thank our guests for their presentations and to all of you for your attendance. Honor us, if you will, by going to our website, oscalcentral.com. Look at the information and help that's there. And while you're there, head over and join OSCAL Central to help make what we do possible. Thank you. Our next program will be July 20 at the same time, 4 o'clock Eastern. I've checked, by the way, there is not another Father's Day coming up in July, so I won't have to reschedule. We promise some very neat segments, informative and entertaining. In the invitation to this program, I put in some of the upcoming segments that we're going to have. We're going to have some really great stuff this summer and fall. I hope you will join us. So as I said, this concludes the formal part. We do have a tradition of keeping the Zoom open after the adjournment of the formal program in order to allow attendees to have follow-up questions and whatever people might be interested in talking about. We call it good and welfare. So I invite you to stay with us if you have the time and inclination. But this does end the formal part of the program. Thank you. Anybody got any questions, comments, things that we need to cover? If there are not, then I really thank everybody for your attendance. We're delighted to share not only the update on Sunset Third Rail and all the things that are going on there, but to also get a view of Ed Rapi's really impressive layout. We thank Al for the video, and we thank Ed for building such a fantastic layout and sharing it with us. So thank you all, and I'm going to end the meeting then. Thanks a lot.